Hi, everybody.
Hello.
It's so funny.
Because you went,
I'm feeling a little worse for wear
yeah,
today.
me too.
We had I wear a Fitbit and I kind of track my various health signs on it. One of them is sleep, and there was 2 hours last night where I was awake between 1 and 3 due to the teenage shenanigans
Yes.
that happened.
Which feel like they've become very commonplace in our lives
Yes.
of late.
Yes, and I noticed how I went to kind of the place of, oh my God, there must be something wrong with me that my kid is having all these kind of shenanigans. And then I, reflected on it and I thought, well, maybe I've got a kid who's going to have a lot of shenanigans and they've got me as a parent to help them through their shenanigans.
Yeah, but I don't think that, I think a lot of parents must think that way. That I think about my sister who was a school teacher in North America for many years in a girls' school. And she said that the teaching staff lived in abject fear of 10th grade because everything went haywire in no uncertain terms. And I think that what's interesting at the moment is how, I know we've spoken about this before, how you keep thinking, well, okay, we must have reached the nadir of this situation. It can't, there's nothing worse. I think we've seen it all now. And every time I think that, literally something else happens. And now I got to the point I was like, well, it's just going to keep on happening. I don't know what's around the corner next, but I've got to start thinking. I've got to start thinking that, oh yeah, I can put my feet up now. We've been there, done that, got the T-shirt, we're good to go.
We're out of the woods.
We're out of the woods, but yeah, that's folly. I have learned.
That is folly. And every child is different. And so one of our children, it was kind of a smoother journey.
Although at the time we didn't think it was at all.
No, that's true. Maybe it's the privilege of, what is it? Amnesia?
In fact, maybe the younger child learned from the older child.
I'm sure she did.
She got schooled in the older child's ways. And has just taken it to a different level.
That's right.
But nevertheless, I think that our reaction, in terms of how we feel, or I speak for myself, I don't think my reaction is too dissimilar in terms of the level of dismay that I encountered with the older one that I'm now maybe going through with the younger one.
When you say, though, that there's been learning along the way?
There has been learning on the way, but it's a higher level of learning now.
Right. The antes, what is it? The stakes are higher?
The stakes are higher.
Yeah.
Yes. Which we also said how being a parent of teenagers is almost like a personal growth boot camp, or there is the opportunity for it to be like a personal growth boot camp.
We're having to grow.
Because we have to grow. We have to either grow or just sink to the depths of despair. But I feel like we are growing. I feel like I've certainly grown. I feel like this morning after the shenanigans of last night, when I was in the kitchen this morning and encountered said individual for the first time since last night's shenanigans, that the inclination or the urge inside of me to sort of lash out and chastise and be in a place of condemnation was pretty strong. But I managed to separate myself from that. I could see that was just me in the moment reacting, and that it would serve no real purpose other than just to sort of play lip service to maybe how my parents would have reacted in that situation, because this is like going into the realms of the unknown, and in that situation when I'm feeling a bit freaked out, I want to default back to what I know, which what I know is like this is unacceptable behavior and I need to chastise you for this. But I really pat myself on the back for just disengaging with that sentiment and just realizing that the best thing that I can do now is remain neutral. We'll have a conversation later when hopefully we're all in a neutral place, and hopefully that will bear fruit. But if I followed that inclination in that moment, it would have all gone south very quickly.
Well, I agree. I mean, it's easy. I find myself going to places of judgmental thinking. Like, one of mine is like, what were you thinking? Like, I just get really critical and stern in my mind, and I realize that nothing good ever comes from that. And I was aware as I was reflecting between 1 and 3 a.m. this morning, that she's doing the best that she can. It makes sense in her mind. And how do I want to relate to her in a way that is open-hearted, kind, and loving, but still putting in place what I think is appropriate based on where she's at.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I really can see now how there is a really strong inclination, or a default setting, if you like, in my mind and in my thinking in those moments of like really coming down on them hard. And it's almost like it's almost a form of self-hypnosis that's I've programmed myself to think that, yes, this is how you operate under these circumstances. When I feel a line has been crossed, and for me it's about disrespect. That's the narrative that I'm running. I feel like I don't want to be disrespect when I've created very defined guidelines about how I expect my offspring to behave. But when that line is crossed, there's the potential for me to really get on that disrespect bandwagon and then really react from that place, because I think that's how I'm supposed to behave. So for argument's sake, this morning, there was a really strong urge to do that, because I think there's some very clearly defined neural pathways about reacting to that kind of behavior. But it was so interesting just to disengage from that and see, yeah, that doesn't really work. It never works. I've proven to myself time and time again that never works. And that the best thing I can do, the very least that I can do, is to be neutral. And the best that I can do is just to be loving. And actually this morning I was pretty loving. Mm-hmm. So much so that I think said individual thought, well, that must have all gone below the radar. But
they just thought it was a bad dream.
Little did they know. But having said that, we did have a great conversation. We were neutral, and we had our say, and we've had to, put some new guidelines in place, and we can only hope that they will be followed.
Well, we'll see, and I think that it's really freeing to see how it's possible to show up from a place of love and compassion and empathy and non-reactivity in those kind of circumstances.
Yeah.
That's really freeing.
Yeah. And the real freedom for me is to know that when I am being neutral, that I'm much better equipped to sort of tap into the wisdom of knowing how to deal with any situation. Particularly the turmoil that can be sent our way from the realm of the teenagers.
I know. We keep thinking that we're done, right?
Yes.
But anyway, eventually.
One day.
They'll grow up eventually.
Yeah, one day.
We have one going off to college.
Yep. One's down, one to go.
One down. That's not how you want to say it.
One down, one to go to college.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I meant.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.